I'm going to call the City of Groton Committee of the Whole for Monday, May 22nd, 2017 to order. Clerk Patrick, will you please call the roll?
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Councilors Jill Rusk, Jamal Beckford, Stephen Sheffield, Conrad Heed, Rashad Carter, sorry, I'm just not talking tonight, Deputy Mayor Lawrence Garish, and Finance Director Ronnie Hurst, Clerk Deborah Patrick.
Okay. Our first referral is for an appointment to Beach and Parks with Cynthia Garvey. I think you guys had a copy of the application. And that will fill the Beach and Parks Committee. Is there any discussion?
How long's the term till?
I don't remember where she goes to. She's.
Is she filling someone's spot?
Yes, but I can't remember if it's.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Can't remember.
Nope, that's okay. It's a vacant position that expires 12/31/18. So according to the information that's on our website, there's a vacant spot. It will be filled until 12/31/18. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. We'll need a motion to move it to. Where are we here? June
5th. June 5th?
June 5th.
Yeah, June 5th.
Okay, June 5th.
I so move.
Okay,
Second.
okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, the next one is 624. This one, right. All right, 624. My apologies there. That is a $624 is a donation request for the Cure Innovation Commons for $500. And that falls under, we have a resolution R-14-4-48 is a resolution the mayor and council established a policy for funding and granting donations. We have currently in fiscal year 17, we've given $500 to Subvets, $1,000 to Children First Groton, $1,000 to Art on Groton Bank, and we have $2,500 remaining in FY17. Any discussion on this? Councilor Heath?
How does the city get recognition for sponsoring the event? Do we put out a sign? Is it on an invitation?
I went to their website and it looked like we got put onto a sign.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other comments?
And we can follow up on that too and get back to them as
Okay.
far as what if there's some sort of, if there's an invitation or how it's supposed to help.
Yeah, there were tiers, and I can't remember what the breakdown was, but it went all the way up to I think like 1,000 or something, and all the way down to like 50. And so they had different tiers and got you your name on different things. So.
Okay. So that's the first one. Any other comment? Anyone need a motion to move it to, what did we say, June 5th?
Yeah.
Calendar June 5th?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so moved. The next referral is the golf tournament. It is part of the Brian C. O'Farrell Memorial Golf Tournament to be held on Friday, June 16th. The levels are youth patron, tee sponsor, friend, partner, tournament sponsor, event sponsor. So did you guys get that information? Okay, you did. All right. So it goes from 100, 150, 300, 500, 1,000, and $1,200. So,
Excuse me.
Councilor Rusk.
Do you remember how much I believe we did this last year, correct?
Yes, I believe we did.
For Sacred Heart, I don't recall.
Sacred
I know we
Heart.
did for the sub-vets.
Okay,
Right, we just did one for sub-vets, which was a golf tournament.
okay.
How much was that? Do you remember?
That was the $500 for the,
Okay.
So are we being asked which one we would want to support, if
Yeah,
any?
there'll be, right, there's two things with this. One is, at what level do you want to support? And then the second one is to move it to the meeting of the 5th of June.
And you said we have about 2,500 left.
We have 2,500 left according to my
Is
notes.
that after this one?
After the one we just did, that puts us at 2,000. Because we just did one for 500.
We didn't do this the year before.
We did not do this one the year
This is the
before.
first time we've done this.
This is, yes, this is the first time we've talked about this.
And that money runs through what month again?
and through June 30th. As
Through
far as
June
that
30th.
$5,000 resolution,
Correct.
yes, it's on a fiscal year.
For FY17, correct.
I'd be okay with a $300 or $500.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'd say 500.
Is 500 what you want? I mean, we're not taking motions, we just get a consensus.
Sure.
The motion will be next
3 or
on the
5.
5th. You okay with,
I'd say 3 or 5, yeah.
but you're okay with 5?
Yeah.
Counselor Heed, you're okay? You're okay with 5?
Yep.
Okay, so $500 will be the donation there. And we'll need a motion to take it, to put it on the agenda for 5 June.
So moved.
Second.
Okay? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. The next one is 634. This is the City Council Rules of Procedure. This is what we have currently approved of the rules that we are, that we follow. In addition to Robert's Rules of Order, but these are the rules that we follow for the council. So we would need to mark this up. And then we would vote on this.
So this is the current, sorry,
Go ahead,
this is the
Counselor Heath.
current rules that we were using in the last city council.
That's correct.
Is there anything in particular that hasn't worked as well or should be improved or changed?
Not that I'm aware. The agenda's fine. Rules of order, motions. No, I think we're okay. Counselor Sheffield?
Rules Committee, did we have any members on the Rules Committee previously? As far as who was on, who handles the,
That's a good question.
I don't recall a Rules Committee when I was
Well, is there, oh, there's a rules.
standing. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, because we had 3 and 3. There was public safety, public works,
But that's
And-
different.
economic.
Counselor Rush?
If you look at are you talking understanding committees?
Right.
It says, the above standing committees, except the committees of the whole and the rules committee, shall be arranged into 2 groups
Okay.
of 3 at the discretion of the mayor. I don't know that, and the mayor shall appoint members of the council to such standing committees and shall designate a chairperson for each. I think that exempts the committee of the whole and the rules committee.
Right. So, what we could do is we could go through this and make changes today, or you could come up with a rules committee to give us the information prior to the meeting of the 6th, and then that would go out in your packet, and then we would vote on that on the, oops, sorry, not the 6th, on the 5th.
Yeah, so my question would be what, makes up the rules committee as far as, the grouping and how it's,
Well, if you decided that you wanted, if you decided that you did not want to go through this quickly tonight and change anything, and you needed more time, then I would ask for volunteers who want to be on the rules committee. And then you guys,
Also, in regards to that, in addition to these rules, if there's any question, then Robert's Rules takes over anyway. They have precedence.
that's correct.
If there was a question or something, dispute on something, then they just refer to Robert's Rules.
Clerk Patrick, did anything stick out to you that needed to be changed specifically?
To tell you the truth, I didn't really
Okay.
read it
Sorry,
thoroughly,
my
but
apologies.
we've been working with these for the past 2 years.
Right.
And I don't recall there being any major issues. Although I don't recall us ever having a rules committee.
No, I think we always did it during the committee of the whole.
Yes, I think you're right.
Ron, do you have any input?
so shall we delete rules committee from that, or is there has to
That's,
be?
you
that's
can-
up to you.
You,
That's
Okay.
up
you
to
can, if you want, or you can just leave it there as a standing committee in the event that there comes up, in the event if we go forward and we find out there's an issue that needs to be identified to go to the rules committee, then at least you have the option of going to a rules committee, convening a rules committee.
I think we definitely want to keep it.
Mhm.
For future reference, we don't have to actually use it.
Right.
If there's no problem, if nothing's broken, then why fix it, right?
Well, right now, the thing that jumps out to me is, under Rule 12, we'll need to update the members that are there. We'll need to remove Marion as the mayor, make me the mayor.
Okay.
Councilor Garrett should become the deputy mayor.
Okay.
Councilor Avento would come off, Councilor Jervis would come off. So we would need to update this.
I think it'd be good to go through it
Okay?
line by line,
All right.
and I'm willing to meet with people if they're willing to.
Would you like to be on the rules committee?
I would love to be on the rules.
I'd be
Okay, is there
happy
any, and Councilor Heath, anyone else? It'd be good to have a third, that way if you have,
Stephen,
and Councilor Sheffield. So,
thank you.
we're gonna have a rules committee of Councilor Heath, Councilor Sheffield, Councilor Rusk. You guys can get together and go through the rules. And if anybody has any comments, you can feed them to those guys. And then if you can come up with the changes in time so that we can get them to you. Remember, next Monday is not a meeting, it's the fifth Monday.
Yep.
And actually, Monday's a holiday anyway, so it's the 5th Tuesday.
Okay.
So we do not have a meeting, that's why the next one's in June. Okay, but we still need a motion to move this for the meeting of 5 June.
Well, if they
Is
have
that-
time to really go over this,
When we move it to the next one on,
well, you don't have to, you don't
June.
really even have to move it. You can just put it on the agenda once you're done with it.
Okay, so just leave it off the agenda, and we'll discuss it again at committee of the whole.
Well, you can discuss it at the next committee of the whole, or once they have their recommendations.
Right, whatever the next council meeting is.
You can always have it put on the agenda, discuss it when the resolution is read, and then move it forward.
But something has to happen to get it on to the agenda of the council, right?
No, it just has to, you have to approve it to be put on the agenda.
Okay. Then that's
Generally,
fine.
things go through the committee of the whole, but
Sure.
you don't have to wait for
Okay,
committee
so
of
it's,
the whole.
got it, okay? Is everybody okay with that? Then that's what we'll do. All right, the next one is 635, which is the group committee assignments. So have you guys given
35?
35.
635?
I didn't get that.
I don't think there's anything. Your
Well,
committees are here.
Do you have, if you go to
Oh,
rule number 7, under standing committees,
gotcha.
if you get rid of the rules committee and the committee of the whole, those are group 1 and group 2 committees. So, if, the way this works, if you're in group 1, you're gonna be the chair of one of the committees, and then you'll be a member of the other 2 committees. Same with group 2.
So I'm assuming 1 is on the left and 2 is on the right.
Correct. Right, we haven't changed that?
Well,
Yes,
fine.
that's correct.
One is
Okay.
finance, public safety, and public works.
Yeah, 'cause finance.
Actually, they're
fi-
different. They're
yeah.
different in here than they are.
Yeah, because finance is with community and
Yeah.
Parks and Rec.
All right,
So
you're right.
these
it
are
is.
not in any specific order.
Okay, so do we want to keep them in the order that we have now?
Well, right now, we have in group 1, we have community development, public safety, and public works. In group 2, we have finance, parks and recreation, and economic development.
No, that
Nope.
wasn't, no. it
Nope.
was-
Yeah, so it looks like community development
Oh, I'm
and
Community-
sorry,
finance.
community development-
You were with them,
Community
I'm sorry.
development is with finance and Parks and
Right,
Rec.
and
Yeah.
economic development is group 1.
Public
And
safety and public
EDC
works.
is with public safety and public works.
Right.
So it is correct
So
on here?
finance.
No.
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 Which,
community,
wait, so what am I
and
So it
parks
would
are
be,
with 1.
economic development was with public safety and
Gotcha.
public works, and that was committee 1. And then, oops,
So the economic development committee,
finance,
public safety and public works will be group 1.
Group one,
Group 2 will be finance,
That's-
Parks and Rec, and community development.
Okay.
Is that, okay,
mhm.
all right? So do you guys have a preference for where you want to go?
Well, I guess Jill, we'll start with you.
Oh.
No, you.
Community development,
Okay,
is that okay?
Were you on
That's-
economic development
that's-
previously?
I was not.
You were community before.
No, she
I
was.
She's EDC.
I was on economic development, which I'd be happy to take again if nobody else wants, but,
And I just wanted to know where you were, so, yeah.
you went to Parks and Rec, right?
Yeah, I'll do that, yeah, like Parks and Rec. If it's unless somebody else.
Okay, Counselor Carter is looking at Parks and Rec. We have finance,
I wouldn't mind staying on public safety
okay, so
and economic development or whatever.
So
She's
Deputy,
going
the
to-
Deputy Mayor Garish is on public safety, so we have EDC, Public Works, and Finance.
I had my eye on economic development and finance.
Okay, do you have a preference over those two?
Probably economic development.
Okay. So Counselor Beckford is for EDC. Okay, we have Public Works and Finance.
I'll take finance.
Okay?
I'll do public works.
All right, so what we have is, for Group 1, we have Economic Development Committee, Public Safety, Public Works. The Economic Development Committee will be chaired by Councilor Beckford. Public Safety will be by Deputy Mayor Garish. Public Works will be by Councilor Heath. And then Finance will be by Councilor Sheffield. Parks and Rec will be by Councilor Carter, and Community Development will be by Councilor Rusk. Okay, is everybody okay with that? All right. Now, we still need to move that for the next meeting, right?
Mhm. Well,
Okay.
that was a completely separate
Right.
referral item.
That's the
so.
6:35, right. So we'll need a motion to move that to the meeting of 5 June.
so moved.
Second.
Okay? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? No. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, the next one is 636. All right. The 636 is Eastern Point Beach concession vendor. We have, as as you know, due to circumstances that have occurred, the Garcias are unable to continue. And we put out RFPs. We did get one bid, and that representative is here tonight. And we have, this is going to be discussed at our special meeting later tonight. And so what I'd like to do, if you have any questions, we'll go ahead and get the questions answered during the committee of the whole meeting, and then they can be dismissed so they can go home and not have to stay late, because we have a full committee of the whole, and then we have an executive session, then we'll come back and do the special council meeting. Okay, so does anybody have any questions on the Future Point Beach concession? Mary, would you like to,
She answered a lot of questions last
do you
week.
want to address this, or are you okay?
I'm,
Does anybody need to hear anything else from
These-
Director Hill?
Mary, or
Councilor
whoever.
Carter?
So I saw the food items on here.
Yep.
So is that these prices, is this an approximate of what the prices will be, or is this in line with what the prices will be?
Mr. Carter, that is what the prices will be.
Good, awesome.
We're keeping them in line to what it used to be, carrying them on that tradition.
Very good. Good. That's the only question I have.
Okay, we'll need, make sure we use the mic so we can pick it up for them. Well, that wasn't so much for you as it was for Ernie, but he didn't, that was my fault for not telling. Any other questions?
And just say thank you for stepping up.
Yeah.
It's
Come
really
on
great
up.
things to
Right.
It was like nobody was asking. Sorry. Okay.
It's not a question, just a statement. Thank you for stepping up and doing this.
Absolutely, thank you.
Well, and I think this will be good. Councilor Russ?
For those people in the audience who don't know you, can you just kind of explain what you've done in the past and where you're seeing this go?
Thank you, and good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members, and congratulations on the new members here. My name is Ernie Koshmeter, and I've been born and raised right here in Groton, Connecticut, lived here all my life for 53 years. I have a vested interest in the city of Groton. I love it here. I would think of no other place to move or whatever. I'm currently the food service director for Groton Public Schools and Montville Public Schools. I oversee 16 different schools. We feed on average here in Groton a little over 3,800 lunches and over 2,200 breakfasts every single day. That makes us the largest restaurant in Groton per meal served per day. When the opportunity came up for the beach concession stand, it falls in with my educational programs that we have at Groton Public Schools, such as Fitch High School. We have a culinary club, we have a business department that's all run by students, etc. The former mayor and I have always had that discussion, if and ever the opportunity came up, what a great piece that would be for the school system to get involved. And that's where we come to now, is being able to take this on. And I can tell you that every single dime after we pay for labor and food goes right back to the students in some form. So again, there's going to be some high school and culinary kids in that kitchen from time to time. There'll be some special needs students in there from time to time, and everybody will have a role in running the concession stand down there.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Councilor Carter? Oh,
Okay.
Councilor.
Well, I just had a question. Have you had a moment to tour the facility?
I have.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts or concerns?
Well, there's certainly adequate equipment there to take care of business, if you will, and we have some of our own ideas as well that we want to come in and just, implement.
Just let the council know, we're, Mary and her department is in the process now of going through some things. There has been a walkthrough. Some equipment will be moved, and we're also going to get it thoroughly cleaned so that as we start out on a brand new slate when we start this new contract. Councilor,
I had a
go ahead.
question. I was wondering what type of hours you would maintain.
I kind of stipulated that in the RFP. We plan on operating from 10:30 in the morning, opening up, if you will, and closing up somewhere right around 7:30, depending on events or whatever. And if there should be a firework evening or something, we plan on extending, being open for the folks.
I also wanted to just make a point. You mentioned about all the different schools and things that you do, the food programs, and I didn't want to let it not be said, all the great things you do for us at the Groton Elks at Christmas time with the special ed kids. So, that I think that kind of follows through with the flow of the business that you're in, so
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Okay, Councilor Russ?
Can I go completely off topic and just thank you for the summer program also and ask you to kind of highlight that just a tiny bit? I know that's off topic, but it impacts our kids here in the city, and I think it's really important that people know about that and that they get the information as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So can you tell people
Oh,
where the
yes,
sites
yes,
in the city?
okay.
Sorry.
I got you.
Sorry.
It's late.
Sorry, I just saw it on the website today, and I was excited.
Yes, no, we're excited. Summer feeding, of course, you know, you wouldn't find this hard to believe, but during the summer months when actually food insecurity goes up during the summer months, when kids ain't in school to be able to enjoy those breakfasts and lunches. We always say in my department that we have that privilege of feeding your children 2 meals out of 3 a day. That is a privilege, and all my staff know that. And summer is no different. So when school is out, sometimes kids are, a lot of them are home alone. You know, parents have to work, or the parents are sleeping or whatever, or they're staying with their grandparents. So anywhere in Groton, any child that's 18 years or younger can join any one of my, we have 17 sites this year, and can come down to our sites and enjoy a free meal, breakfast or a lunch. And it's a great program. And again, last year we served over 38,000 meals, and this year our goal is 45,000 meals. And that's hard to believe that exists here in Groton, but over approximately an 8-week period, that's what we will serve this year.
Thank you.
Perfect. Larry?
I just want to, I'm going to backtrack a minute and back to Larry's question in regards to office hours of operation. That's actually set by the mayor and council. With the agreement that is set forth. In the past, it used to be, we adjusted it from time to time when the Garcias were there. The last time it was in writing, it was 9:30 to 8, but we did go back to the 7:30 time slot because the Garcias weren't doing well from that 7:30 to 8 o'clock time frame. So that actually could be set forth by you, taking into consideration what the Groton Public Schools Food Services put in their RFP. You, as a group, can determine to the hours of the stand.
Okay. And I remember those conversations, but I had asked it just to see what Ernie's take on it was, what probably would be comfortable for him.
I think it's a work on, sometimes it's a work in progress.
Yeah. But I have to also say that when I read this, when it came through on a flyer, I saw that I was pretty excited about it myself, because I know the work you do.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Carter, you had a comment?
Oh, I think I know the answer to it. Was as far as like the so the kids, most of the kids that are in there, so they're paid through, or they don't. Not volunteer, right?
Nope, it's all paid. It's through Groton Public Schools, and you know they would get working papers. So it's a job for them, and they would get a paycheck just like everybody else that works there. It's a great little summer gig.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Anything else? We'll need a motion to move it to tonight's special.
I'll make the motion that we move it to the next meeting.
Second?
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we won't need them for the special meeting, is that correct? Okay, thank you very much for
And I
coming
will
in.
leave a business card here for each one of you, please.
Okay.
Any questions I'm sure you'll think of afterwards, email me, call me. Love to answer any more questions that you have, though.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the tax collector suspense list. This is the suspense list. Basically, these are the amounts that the tax collector has deemed as uncollectible. I mean, they're still on the rolls, and they could be collected if somebody wants to pay, but they have attempted several times, and they are unable to get this. The total amount is $24,948.70. So Any discussion on that, Councilor Heath?
My name is not on here.
Yeah.
I did go through all the names to make sure.
Very good, I'm very happy for you.
But there were a couple on here that were over $1,000, and it looks like they belong to companies. I wonder if there's any recourse, like can we give them to a collections agency? I think
Right.
most of them are probably people who moved.
Right.
And
Possibly military.
not going thoroughly through the list, most of the time the personal property is from businesses that have closed,
Mm.
so there is nothing to get, but.
There's no way to go after it. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll need a motion to move this to June 5th.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, motion carries. And the last thing is the Groton Utilities Water and Electric budget. Ron and Dave, would you guys come forward, please?
Yeah, what everybody has in their
Thank you.
packets are the actual budgets. So that's the detail, and then what David's gonna do is hit these high-level slides. Did hit the highlights out of the packets, and you can drill
Thank
into
you, Ron.
you can drill into the detail packets as you want, or you can take this guidance to remind you to ask something, whichever you want.
Okay.
All right, David, I'll let you take the lead.
All right. For those new members of the council, I'm David Collard. I'm the General Manager of Utility Finance for Groton Utilities. The budget, you have the budget in your packet as it was submitted and approved by the Utility Commission. And what I put together here is a summarization to present it to you. And if you have questions, if you've seen something that you would like to ask questions on, please feel free. If you would like to open the package, the first two pages, slide 2 and slide 3. These two slides here, I think, is the most important information that, in your positions, that you would want to know about. We have a comparison here of the electric bills for Groton Utilities to neighbors, surrounding neighbors, and a comparison of annual water bills. Right now, going for, on July 1, Eversource is increasing their rates. Right now, our rates are like 15 or so below Eversource percent. When Eversource's rates go up on July 1, Groton Utilities electric rates will be 18.4% below them. We are all, two things happens. Their rate goes up in our budget, which I'll talk a little bit more as we go through. We are eliminating the purchase power adjustment. So our rates, our bills to our customers are going to go down, and Eversource's bills are going up. So there's a savings that we're putting in there as well as the comparison. The savings will yield about $2.75 per month on an average 700 kilowatt hour bill for the typical residential customer. On the water side of the bill, this is an 800 cubic foot, which is the benchmark that we used for comparisons. Right now, we're at an annual of $572, or that's about $47 a month. And we're increasing it by 4.5%, and you've probably seen us talk and heard us talk about the 4.2% it is. You've probably heard us talk about it at other presentations with regard to the new water treatment plant facility, and that's the reason for the increase there. That will probably go into effect around October 1 because of the time it takes to go through the process of having it approved. But nevertheless, I think the two things that we give back to this city, the Groton Utilities, is we're giving all of the customers lower rates. We're returning to the city a cash contribution of $4.1 million. That goes towards the city's contribution, the city's expenses, undoubtedly. We also contribute in-kind and cash, other types of cash contributions and things that we pay for, which is listed in the packet of another $2 million for a total benefit to the city of the utility of $6.1 million. And I think, you know, this is a proud statement on the utility staff that we can do this to and provide this back to the city. And it's your value that you receive as the owners of the utility. You know, people should be proud that they have a utility that can do this for them. It undoubtedly helps the city's tax base. It helps their home right in their own pocket between taxes and between water cost and between electric cost. Those, I think, are the most two important things that you want to think about when you look at the budget for the utility. So if you want to turn to the next slide, I'm going to talk about what the budget drivers are, the revenue, the operating expenses, the capital projects that both water and electric divisions will be using, and then the cash flow from the operations of the next fiscal year. So, like I said, the budget has included the $4.1 million contribution to the city in cash, and then another $2 million of other various types of services and cash payments to the city, and it's providing lower water and electric rates compared to the communities around us. And that's a tremendous, I think, benefit to all of the people that live in this community. So, on the revenue side, the water revenues are a total of $10.7 million, and they're up about 3%. The rate increase that we're going to be proposing is 4.2%, and we expect that we'll probably have it approved by October 1. And that will increase the customer's average 800 cubic foot bill of about $1.75 a month. The consumption based on the past usage of 12 months ending February 2017 is down a little bit by less than 1%. And we typically use historical data to project what we expect the revenues will be on both water and electric. The electric revenues, the total electric revenues are $48 million, and they're 4% below what we budgeted last year. We eliminated the .00370 purchase power adjustment by utilizing the rate stabilization funds that we have available to us at CMEC. And that will reduce the average customer's bill 700 kilowatt hours by about $2.75. So basically, if the customer has both water and electric services and they use this quantity of water and electric, they're actually going to see a savings of $1 instead of an increase overall of both services together. And again,
just
the consumption.
One thing real quick. Some people could very quickly jump on the electric revenue, the fact that it's gone down a little bit, but it's not. In this particular case, it's a good thing because our costs are going down, and therefore we're delivering those costs to the customers. So the customers, their power cost is actually less than what they were paying before. So that's a good thing that we are delivering that to the customer.
You're right. There are two basic reasons for the reduction in the revenue, though. There is the reduction of the purchase power adjustment, and there also is a reduction in consumption through various classes, and that have contributed to the reduction in revenue. But that also relates back to a reduction in purchase power costs as well when they're not using as much energy.
So I guess the important thing I'm trying to put out there is not just an erosion of the customer base, right?
No.
There are other factors which end up being positive to our customers, and that's why this is not necessarily going to cause panic.
Oh, no, it shouldn't. This is a benefit to the customers.
Right.
And it's still good bottom line for the utility division, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Question?
Sure.
Now, how long would that rate increase that would take place in October, how long would that have to be maintained before the treatment?
Well,
plant?
that rate, yeah, in the forecasting of the building of the new rates, of the new water treatment plant, we first started off with a increase of 2.6, then we went to 6.2, this is 4.2. And then what's going to happen is once everything is said and done with the documents are signed with the DWSRF and everything is cast in stone, we're going to have that taken to our rate and our analyst consultants and have them put together the whole plan. We have been forecasting this ourselves based on the information that we have and where we're going. This 4.2% increase is going to allow us to put $900,000 this year into the restricted cash fund that we have been setting money aside for the treatment plant rebuild. And that will help minimize the rate increases that might be necessary for the rest of the term.
All right, remember, for those of you that have been on the council, remember we talked about front loading this a little bit so that we wouldn't have very large increases later on down the road. So we said we were going to start paying for this before construction started. And then we also, so currently the project is $54 million. Remember, we got the $15 million from the Department of Public Health for the water treatment plant, so that's going to help. And this will help because we're going to step it up, and then that way there's shared skin in the game, along the way, instead of doing a large prop jump of 11 or 12 or 20%. So does everybody remember that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, without that $15 million grant coming in, we were projecting, because that's something new that just recently came up, we were projecting probably to have other 4% increases down the road.
Right.
Yeah, but that certainly is going to have a change in the whole process.
Thanks, Dave.
So on the operating and maintenance expense side, the electric operations department their expenses are up about 3%. And there was a substation electrician apprentice, which is a new employee that is being proposed in the budget. There's a call before you dig GIS project manager. We continue to have 2 outside trimming crews, as we have been the past few years, funded in the budget. And they're utilizing water personnel for updating the electric records, so the electric division will be paying the water division for their expenses of the employees that they use. And then there are expenses in here that NERC and ISO SCADA infrastructure requirements, and those are basically network security requirements that need to be done. Those are the basic big dollar highlights of what makes up that 3%. On the water operations side, theirs is up 5%. There's a new water distribution operation position that's partially allocated to capital projects. The GAC filter replacements are expensed. There's a 50-50 cost share with the electric division for a GIS system study. There's a study to evaluate the THMs in the distribution water and how to improve this water quality parameter. There's a new solar-powered mixing apparatus for the Quantic Reservoir in the expense, and there's a study to determine the proper equipment to read both stream flow and reservoir level maintenances of 2, and there is maintenance of 2 small dams as well. Those are the main contributors to the 5%. In the customer care division, their expenses are up 10%. mostly because of a redundant personnel that's needed for training the new billing manager who recently retired. So it's quite a complicated billing system that needs a lot of training. And there's also, the customer care division also takes care of what we call the economic and PR activities of the utility, and there have been increases in sponsorship requests there, and that's another cause towards the 10%. On the IT area, there's expenses are up 9%. Due to professional services for planned projects, new physical servers, replacements and associated hardware, increases in network hardware and enterprise software, and annual maintenance costs, increases in post-warranty computer hardware, server costs, and costs to renovate and reconfigure the IT areas, including asbestos abatement. And we see more and more technology coming into our daily lives in managing the utility, managing the lines, and IT is becoming a much more bigger part of the whole organization than it ever was before. And it comes down with federal regulations as well. So, not surprised. On the administration side, that is down 1%. It includes a half year of funding for replacement of a key utility financial personnel who's retiring in January, and it includes $25,000 for discretionary merit increases. Those are funded between water and electric. The customer care, the information and technology, and the administration and general expenses are all basically allocated between the water and the electric division on a 65-35% basis. 65% of it goes to the electric division and 35% to the water, and that has been set for several years, and it's more or less related to the numbers of customers between water and electric divisions. On the administrative and general side, which is the area that mostly covers insurances, things that generally affect the entire utility, not to one specific department. Pensions expense on the electric side is up 38%. Medical insurance is up 4%. The administrative transfer to capital projects is 21%. That's a credit that offsets the expense because we capitalize overheads to capital projects. Property and liability insurances are down 8%, and audit fees are down 38%. On the water side, they're overall up 5%. Pension expenses went up 41% for water. Medical insurance, the same, 4%. The administrative transfer to capital projects is up 179% because we, in the water division, they didn't usually capitalize their overhead, but it is appropriate to do so, and we're having them start to do that now more than they ever did before. Property and liability insurance is down 30% there, and the audit fees are down 8% on the water side. Yes.
I'm sorry, can you explain that a little bit more, the administrative transfer to capital projects?
Yeah, it's capitalization of overhead. So it includes payroll taxes, it includes medical insurance, it includes pension insurance and other liability insurances that normally get charged to expense. We do an overhead percentage rating of the relationship between capital projects and non-capital projects, and we add a percentage to every dollar of labor that goes into the capital plan. Okay. And that's what utilities generally do. That's utility accounting. You are always building your plant, both water and electric. So these guys that are working, and they're usually expensed, those are your overhead things. Mm-hmm. They are allowable to be capitalized into your rate base, and you always want to build on your rate base.
Okay, thank you.
Question, please. Could you tell us about the pension increases, why they're so high?
Maybe Ron can tell you that.
That's based on the changes in assumptions, and then just based on the actuary
report from Hooker Holcomb.
But does that mean that they're up that much % from last year's budget?
They are. And I mean, if you remember going through the city budgets, all the pension and insurance line items were actually up.
I didn't realize that they were up this much.
Wasn't up 40%.
Well,
I was just wondering if there were more people retiring or...
No, it doesn't have to do with one of the formulas that,
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different formulas that they use for it. I mean, it's obviously the wages, when people are expected to retire, and how much funding is actually in there at that given time. So if there are people that are closer to retirement age, there could be an increase in the funding based on what amount is in that fund. And they do break out the utilities separately in that report.
The administration, so you're saying that includes the salaries and everybody's salary, correct?
the
The first
administrative
semester.
and transfer capital, are you referring to, or?
Yeah, the first bullet, the regular administration is down 1%. And then the
Oh, administration. That administration is the director's office and the staff, the secretary of staff. I'm in that department. Some other accounting people are in that department.
but that includes
Those are
salary.
mostly salaries, and it also includes other expenses, like outside services for professional people doing analysis work on rate studies and whatever. There's a lot of different items in there.
All right. And the discretionary merit, that's raises pretty much, right?
Yeah, that raises that were not budgeted, merit raises. The money hasn't been used in the past few years. I don't ever remember it used. We budget it and it never gets used.
Well, how do you pay for raises if it's down 1%?
It's the handling of the way. Last year, when we put in funding for replacement of retirement people, it went in as in a certain different dollar number, and then and no one was hired.
So you just move in stuff. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. I got
Yeah.
you. All right.
anything else on that page? Okay, thanks, David. Please continue.
So the next page is the capital projects. This is just telling you about how much is being spent on bonded and non-bonded capital projects on both water and electric and IT. And in your packet, there is a page, if you have looked at it, that lists and itemize each one of the projects. Typically, we have what we call mass asset projects in the electric division, and that includes building services to new homes. It includes meter acquisitions that may be needed. It will include transformers that need to be purchased during the year, new lines that need to be put up during the year that we call mass assets. And then they also have specific projects, which might be a specific street that's being upgraded or a specific project of capital improvement at one of the substations. They're all listed in the packet, in the budget, and a short explanation of what they are if you want to look at them and have any questions. But in water also, water has not as many capital projects as electric does, and the biggest number in there, we're in the $15,000, like we called it bonded, even though they expect that about $14,000 is going to be spent in the next budget year on the beginning of the water treatment plant. We call it bonded. It's not bonded. It's the loan from the DWSRF, but they expect to have about $14 million worth of activity in the next budget year, and that money will come from the DWSRFs until the plant is finished.
Anything else there? Okay.
On the cash flow side, the electric division has a negative cash flow from the activities of 2018 fiscal year of $299,000. The projection for cash positive for this fiscal year right now is way over $1 million from the activity, so that can well support the next fiscal year with a start of cash. We anticipate that the cost of service study is going to be completed, and probably sometime during the summer, we're going to have that presented to the Utility Commission and to the council, and we expect that there'll probably be some redesign of the rates and some changes in the way that the rates are applied to both residential and commercial and industrial customers. And we also anticipate further utilization of the rate stabilization funds up at CMEC to either maintain the competitive edge or and improve the margin, or even improve the competitive edge when the outcome of the cost of service study is delivered. On the water side, water has a $19,000 positive cash flow from the activities of fiscal year 2018. They continue to contribute to their maintenance reserves, and they're also going to continue to be funding the vehicle replacement reserve, which they started last year with the first deposit into that. And then the budget will allow them to contribute $900,000 to the water treatment rebuild reserve. This year is $700,000 is going into that fund this year.
Councilor Heath?
For the negative cash flow, obviously, it's a big number. If you turn to page 5 of this section here, I don't know how else. Well, it says page
Electric
5
or water?
on this.
So you're in the budget.
Right.
Okay.
It isn't actually page 5, it's like page 50. But it's the second.
What's the title
for electric.
at the top?
This has your cash flow, net cash flow from operations. It says page 5.
You're on the pro forma. Okay. Let me get there.
This one.
Right. It's of the electric, it's the page 5, but it's right before the electric division 2017-18 budget capital projects.
Okay.
And this is the pro forma statement.
Right, so obviously, nobody likes to see a negative cash flow. Maybe you could go through what it is that's driving that for next year.
Well, if you want to look at page 4, that is the cash flow statement. And it's kind of easier to look at.
Oh, okay.
So we start out with net income before transfers to the city at $6.9 million. And then we add back in depreciation, because depreciation is cash, $1.88 million. And then we get receipts for the bond fund projects of $3.7 million from bond fund financing. And then they're going to spend approximately $270,000 on vehicles. That money comes in from the vehicle replacement fund, because we fund that every year. So that gives us $12.879 million cash in. Then what comes out of that is the non-bonded capital of $4 million, projects for, the return to the city of $4.1 million, the non-bonded capital projects of $1 million, and then the vehicle purchase of $270, the bond fund capital projects of $3.7 million comes out of that. This is an accounting deferral of a commissions received. We received all of the cash in this year, but it's amortized in the earnings section over 24 months, so there's a year's worth of it, so that has to come out here. The bond principal requirements for Groton utilities is 1.285, And then the principal requirements that we have on the TVC bonds is 1.725. Working capital, $100,000 contribution to the vehicle reserve, and IT non-bonded capital for the electric share is $335,000. And that's how we get there.
She'll talk about what was budgeted for this year and where we ended up.
Sure. So in the column right before that is the approved budget for 2017, and it's in the positive cash flow was budgeted at $486,000. And as of creation of this budget, our best projection for 2017 is that we're going to have a net cash flow positive of $1.6 million. That's why we don't worry about a $298,000 deficit in cash for that year, plus not to mention what the beginning balances of cash would have been this year.
Thank you.
Because when I do a budget, I do the year in a capsule. I don't take into consideration previous balances. It is the activity for the year, so you see exactly what is happening in that year that creates your bottom line. And of course, we have cash to begin with. We're expecting cash from this year's activity, so it's all good.
Does that address your question?
It does. It
Okay.
can lead to additional questions, but it addresses that question in particular.
This is the time to ask the question.
For the cash reserve for vehicle replacements, it appears that every year we put 100,000 in.
Yes, we do.
Right, okay. So this year we're purchasing, is it 6?
I don't know how many. It's about $270,000 worth, whatever the quantity is.
All right, so we still put in 100 every year, regardless.
Well, the line truck, it costs $300,000. You know, we have an extensive vehicle inventory throughout the utility for not only the big line vehicles, but project manager vehicles and meter reading vehicles. So we put the money away every year, and this way we don't have to cover the whole amount every year when it's, and I don't think for 270 that includes any of the bucket trucks or the diggers or anything like that, because that's one vehicle cost.
The utilities has a fund like this where they're able to continually fund it. I think we do that with the fire as well.
We got away from it for budgetary reasons.
Right.
That's what we're trying to get back onto, is putting money away into our capital.
Right, so the municipality tends to have spikes based on when you gotta buy a vehicle. This is another way, and it's actually it's a very smart way, because you keep putting in, so then when you end up buying a vehicle that costs $300,000 or $400,000, you've already put away for it, and you don't get that big spike.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm a big proponent of that, so.
So a lot of times municipalities will get away from that because of taxes and expenditures and things like that, and it ends up being a challenge. Utility is able to continue to do this, so that is a good practice.
Mhm.
Any other
No, sir.
question, comment? Anybody else? Hey, Dave, I'll let you continue.
Okay, so in conclusion, the proposed budgets for fiscal year 2018 will afford Groton Utilities to become compliant with NERC and other cybersecurity requirements, allow it to meet debt service requirements and fund growing infrastructure and technology needs, allow for the efficient operation and maintenance of utilities, distribution systems, support compensation plans sufficient to attract and retain skilled high-tech workers, continue to provide highly reliable and responsive service that the customers expect and at rates that are fair, competitive, and viewed as providing value to the customer, and provide for an increase in the return to the city to the maximum allowed. And that's, if there's any other questions or anything you would like to ask me.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I would like to move this to the meeting of the 19th, and the reason being is the meeting of the 5th is going to be busy. Remember, that's our budget meeting, and we've already put several other things on here. So I'd like to get a motion to move this to the meeting of 6/19.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. Is there anything else? Okay, we'll need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. We're now in executive session. It's just going to be the council. You don't need to. All right, I want to go in executive session. Let me do this. We need to revise this, and we'll need to do the executive session to include the council and the finance director.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, so we'll go into executive session. There will be no action from the executive session, but, so we'll come back, we'll close out the meeting, and then we'll start the special meeting. We're going to adjourn to C8. Okay, we are back from executive session. There were no comments, or excuse me, there were no actions from executive session. And is there anything else? With that, I will take a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, we're adjourned. Okay.
Well, it's actually your job to second the adjournment.
Oh, is it?
It comes with a seat.
Now we're going to go into,
All right.
now we're going to go into the special meeting. Jill, do you
Because
have
this was a
the-
committee of the whole.
I do.
Okay. May
There
I
are 4
And he was
different
quick.
meetings every.
borrow a second?
And he was very quick.
Are we ready? Deborah, you ready? Okay. I'm going to call to order the City of Groton Special Mayor and Council's meeting for Monday, May 22nd, 2017. Clerk Patrick, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Deputy Mayor Lawrence Garrish, Councilors Joe Rusk, Jamal Beckford, Stephen Sheffield, Conrad Heed, Rashad Carter, Finance Director Rodney Ross, Clerk Deborah Patrick.
Okay. Takes us to new business. Councilor Rusk, will you read Resolution R-17-5-92?
Yes, thank you. Resolution R-17-5-92. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council grant a 1-year extension of license and waive the security deposit to Groton Public Schools Food Services Department, 1300 Flanders Road, P.O. Box K, Groton, Connecticut, to operate a refreshment facility at Eastern Point Beach for the 2017 season, and rescind Resolution R-17-2-16. I so move.
Second.
And
Is there any discussion? Councilor Rusk.
I move that we actually change the language to this resolution, and that in the first paragraph that we change extension of license to agreement, and therefore be it resolved that that we take out extension of license and we also add agreement. So it would then say, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council grant a 1-year agreement to waive the security deposit to Groton Public Schools Food Services Department, 1300 Flanders Road, P.O. Box K, Groton, Connecticut, to operate a refreshment facility at Eastern Point Beach for the 2017 season, and rescind Resolution R-17-2-16.
Second.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second for the amendment. Any discussion on the amendment? Okay, we need a motion to approve the amendment. Oh, we have that. We need a vote now.
We need a vote to,
We need a
Approve the
vote
amendment.
to
Change.
approve the motion for the amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so now we have the amended motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? Okay, we discovered this morning that in the past, because we've been doing this for so long, we were just extending the Garcias with the license, and this was, we looked at it about the license for vendors and things like that. We realized that's not what we were doing this time. So that's why we made the recommendation for the change to, we're granting a 1-year agreement. And that's the only thing, that's what we want to change. Okay, any other discussion on that motion? Okay, in that case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. There's no executive session, so therefore there's no comments of executive session. With that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, that's it.